but you didn't call one by the name of the other, or vice versa, because if you did, you had a fight there by a group of from each side, those that made the accusation and those who were offended by it. But in Kobe, the problem was it was a merchant place. It was one of the main exports from there was what we call Chinaware, and they had some quality type Chinaware come out of there. But merchant marines and regular Navy people didn't get along either. If they got in the same bar, and we did get in the same bar while we were in Kobe, and we had a free-for-all between the group. Well, my daddy taught me how to fight. Of course, I usually came out okay in those fights, but I had a buddy that they hauled off on a stretcher from there after the police and everything got there, and I never saw that guy again, so I don't know what his final problem was, but he didn't walk out of it. One thing about those type of brawls, some people start breaking bottles, take the neck of the bottle and hit it across something and break it. And
then they got a weapon.
That was a weapon, a bad weapon. And that was one of the things that was in that brawl, that happened in that brawl there that night. And the merchant marines were more likely to do that type of thing than the regular Navy was. Because some of those were very salty people of the merchant marines. When they say salty, that meant that they were all Navy or all mariners, sea people. They call them salty because the ocean is salty. Anyway, that's about all I can think of right offhand.
Well, so when in all this did you meet Mom?
Well, at the end of the third year, before I was transferred, between the time I was transferred from the Orlick to the, I can't even think of that Vammon. From the Orlick was destroyed, and I was transferred to the Vammon, but I didn't go straight from the Orlick to the Vammon. I took a 2-week furlough, and then when I reported back, I reported back to the ship that I had been assigned to, Vammon. But on that trip, I got back home, and the first evening coming up, my brother asked me if I'd have a date, and I hadn't met a girl the year before, but I didn't keep contact with her. But I told him, no, I didn't have a date. He said, well, I know a girl that says she'd like to date you. And of course, I said, okay, we double date. And so we went out. I liked the girl. She was really nice. But I found out she was only 15 years old. And when I was in the basic training in the Navy, we were told not to date girls under the age of 18 because they didn't want us to end up going to prison. They wanted to serve 4 years. But anyway, I realized she was only 15, and that was kind of below my age level. But I found out that night that she was the type of girl I would like to marry, like to have as a wife, because I had been drinking before we took on the date. I had a little on my breath, and the only thing she said that night, she said, I'd rather you not be drinking when you pick me up. That kind I did date her another time on that trip, but I also, for the next year, I wrote her a letter. But I'd also dated other girls when I was on furlough there. One was Barbara Rutherford, and she and Judy were friends. Well, Judy was a friend of Barbara's sister, just about a year younger than Barbara. But anyway, I was writing her too, and I was writing Judy. Every letter I wrote and sent to Judy, I wrote right along the seal part of the envelope, T.S., T.S., T.S.A. And she never did know what that meant until after we got married, and I told her what T.S., T.S., T.S.A. meant. To someone too sweet to sleep alone. Anyway, we did communicate by letter all that year, and I liked her. She was a little too young, I thought, for me, but when I got discharged, me and a buddy, my best buddy that was in charge of the engine room, we got discharged together, and he lived in Bristol, Virginia, and I had a car then. I had a convertible, and so he and I rode back together to Iuka. When I got to Iuka, that was about 50-hour drive from San Diego to Iuka. But when we got to Iuka, it was after dark, and not much after dark, but it was after dark. And I walked in my family's home, my mother and daddy's home, and my brothers lived there, and Judy was there. And that really, I guess you'd say that sold me on her, but so I started dating her, gave her an engagement ring, and that was in the last of May that I got home. I mean, the very last part of May, that May the 30th or 29th, something like that. And we did do a lot dating, and like I said, she was under the age of 18, so I kept my hands where I was supposed to keep them. But I'd asked her to marry me, and we got married on August the 3rd in that year, 1957.
So you were just been discharged?
I had just been discharged about 3 months. Let's see, June, July, and 2.5 months.
So you got engaged while you were on leave?
I didn't get engaged till I was discharged and came home. She was there waiting with my family.
But you had been dating her on leave?
Yes, I'd been writing her all during that year.
Yeah.
And but she had impressed me before. Out of the 2 dates that we took, the first one she impressed me on that one because as the old song goes, I want to marry a good old girl just like the girl my daddy married, or something like that. I forget the words of that song, but anyway, she was the type of girl that I really would like to have for a wife, spend my life. And at this point, right now, we've been married over 61 years, so it must have been good. Can't argue with it, that's for sure.
No, it made it work.
Yeah, it worked. And it was a good marriage, and it was a very loving marriage.
Well, so I should probably give you time to go rest a little before.
Yeah, I'd always like to go rest that last